copies to council. I don't know if there's any objection from the side of Mr. Ramasipuli to use the literature.
My cross-examination, I asked Lieutenant Colonel Mangena of certain concepts to define and to assist us in understanding the theory and the method he applied to come to the findings. I know this document, but I've never referred to it. This is the so-called AFT glossary of terms. I did not refer to this, but I referred to certain concepts from it. And the question that I asked in particular was with respect to the three principles of the theory of identification. And Mr. Mangena had a document from his side that he read from. I did not refer him to any specific documentation.
It's fine, we can come back to this document.
Oh my goodness, Ramasipili, is that you? What in the Baloyi is going on here? Baloyi, Baloyi, Baloyi. How many times did I call your name? What are you doing in the 11th hour? Trying to sneak in a document for the court? So the court can refer to it, because we all know the court is very, very lost in the ballistic world. I mean, that's why he brought up the funny reference, the irrelevant reference that is not about this case. But let me say it anyway. If you don't see it, never mind. We don't need to remember it. But Rams did it right there. I loved it. Like, whoa. And he got Baloyi retracting from his own nonsense. There he goes again, bringing evidence to the defense, sneaking it in under the guise. Okay, this was under the guise of Ramasipili referenced a document, and Ramasipili's like, what are you talking about? I did not reference this document. And he flips through it, and I love what he's doing with his hands. Like, what garbage is this? Good job, good catch, because that would have slid right through, right past. But nope, the defense has all eyes and hands on deck.
Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, Mr. Ramasipili, as he just mentioned, refers to three principles of identification for comparing fired bullets, as laid down by the Association of Firearms and Tool Examiners. It's the abbreviation AFTE. It's used to describe the Association of Firearm and Tool Mark Examiners. And for now, I'll refer to the third principle that Mr. Ramasipili referred to, and it's stated as follows. It says, the heading says, the three principles of the AFTE theory of identification as it relates to marks are, and as Mr. Ramasipili just pointed out, there are three. We'll refer to the first and the second one at a later stage, but I just want us to focus on the third one, which reads as follows. Currently, the interpretation of individualization, identification is subjective in nature, founded on scientific principles, and based on the examiner's training and experience. And here, I just want the emphasis to fall on the examiner's training and experience. Is it correct that in addition to the training and experience of an examiner, certain authors also add to the list the expertise, training, and judgment of the examiner?
That's correct, madam.
Now, do you have these attributes to make the accurate identification?
That's correct, I have not.
Your experience was traversed when you testified on the 30th of August 2023, and we see that on page 9 up to 18 of the report.
That is correct, my lord.
The high watermark of your career history is that you have 29 years experience in the ballistic science.
That's correct, my lord.
And Advocate Mshololo also took you through your experience. And in the 29 years, is it correct that your duties entail reconstruction of scenes and ballistic examination and comparison of specimen?
That is correct, my lord.
As regards your training, Advocate Mshololo did this morning take you through the training that you underwent. But on page 9 of the record of the 30th of August 2023, you set out the training that you underwent, amongst others, forensic ballistic science, identification of ammunition, fire cartridges, the use of microscopic equipment.
That is correct, my lord.
Page 10, you refer to the training in internal ballistics, the functioning of a firearm mechanism during the firing process, external forensic ballistics, terminal forensic ballistics.
That is correct, my lord.
On page 11, paragraph or line 12, you mentioned that in August 2002, you attended the course presented by the Federal Bureau of Investigation of United States, which comprised the following: a bullet trajectory, construction techniques in firearm identification, gunpowder and gunshot residue.
Newsflash, Baloyi, we do not care. FBI or not, what we care about is right here in South Africa at the South African Police Services over there at the Ballistic in Tontoni. Did he register the firearm after he signed for it at the Cleveland SAP 13 and brought it into the lab? Did anybody else know that he was working on this undercover private sessions of examining the firearm? That's what we care about. You know what? Now that you bring up the FBI, does the FBI know that these are the shortcuts that he's taking? And then after that, he kept the firearm in his work safe? That's what we want to know. The last time you mentioned the FBI last year, yes, 30 August 2023, I fell for it. I was like, okay, he's FBI trained. Let's go. We're all on board. Until he revealed who he is. And you know what they say, when somebody tells you who they are, when somebody shows you who they are, you best believe them the first time. And we know Mangena believes in prosecuting a criminal than defending one.
And just at the bottom of that page, line 19, you mentioned that in November 2010, you attended a course presented by Ross and Gardiner, and the course entailed, amongst others, crime scene reconstruction level 1.
That is correct. It was Ross Gardner and Tom Berger.
And just lastly on this point, you mentioned page 8, from line 6, that you have up-to-date examined in excess of 5,620 cases. You examine ballistic-related cases as part of your daily task and testify on a regular basis in the course of South Africa.
That is correct, my lord.
Now, since the matter was adjourned since your evidence was adjourned in August of last year on the 31st of August 2023, have you done any further cases, testified in any new cases?
That is correct, my lord. I was doing cases on normal days, on daily basis. Currently, I'm approximately 6,000 cases that I have completed.
Now, Baloyi and Mangena, I mean this with the greatest of respect. Like Baloyi likes to say when he's about to object nonsense. Listen, I mean this with the greatest possible respect. I hear your chat, okay, about the 5,000 cases that you testified about last year. Last year, we thought, wow, he's a hard worker. He works on so many cases all over South Africa, and it's ballistics related cases daily. Awesome. We give you your accolades. Now, don't forget, we, the members of the jury, didn't say he wasn't an expert. He, on his own accord, said he's just an analyst. And you know what? We're going to run with that, Baloyi. I know you're trying to bring back the expert element. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, learned colleague. I see what you're doing. You're trying to show his expertise to the court because you know the court thrives on those kind of distinctions. The court thrives on that. I just need you to focus on these parts that are quite key. Whether this is going to restore our ability to see Mangena as an expert. I just need to know on what authority he picked up the gun in Cleveland. I need someone from the forensic lab, ballistics and dun lab to come and say, yes, in our lab, firearms come in and out as they please. There's no need to go through administration. That is optional. If that is the procedure, if that is the standard procedure, and Shololo, is making things up, I'm one person who's going to make a whole video to talk about it and issue my apology to Mangena. That's what I really need us to focus on. Counting number of cases, but knowing that you do not follow any procedure. You do as you please. We don't see the striations. You are telling us if it's visible, if it is not visible. If it is not visible doesn't mean... Wait, if it's... What was... I can't remember this. Oh, if it's not visible does not mean it isn't visible. It's like a Ghostbuster situation. Those are just a few things I would like to have focused on. The other thing is working on an open sealed bag. Is that procedural? I just need to know what the procedure is that. Verified with another employee, okay? I also need to know about going ahead and keeping a firearm in your safe for over 4 years and counting with no one knowing about it. Because my fear is what happens when you die? I need to know what the procedure says when you die with this firearm that nobody actually knows you have. In the event you should have died. Knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? These are the questions I have, and this is what I really wish the state could talk to us about as members of the jury and bring us back on board to the state story. Because it's like, steering a ship. You've got to keep the ship going. The engine's got to stay on. And right now, the state is operating at all engines are off. It's giving Titanic. It's giving somebody send rescue immediately. But maybe that rescue is in the form of the new witnesses coming in to give us a short testimony tomorrow. Who do you think that witness is? Go ahead, type it in the comment section down below. But let's continue listening and see where Baloyi is going with this because, oh my God.
Testifying in courts.
That's correct, my lord. I regularly testify in cases on most of the examinations that I have done.
Mr. Ramusepili referred to the subjective nature of the ballistic interpretation and identification as set out in this third principle that I've just alluded to.
That's correct, my lord.
You testify that in addition to the class characteristics, that you also look at the individual characteristics.
That is correct, my lord.
And that these individual characteristics on the length and the groove of the barrel of a firearm are imparted on the bullets, producing individual characteristics.
That is correct, my lord.
Now, in cross-examination by Advocate Nisi about the identification of the marks, you testify that you have compiled and presented the court charts as we have seen, the Exhibit X13E series, and that you have demonstrated these unique marks that you have identified for all to see. Do you confirm that?
I think the state needs to put it very clear.
I can't hear you.
I'm saying the state needs to put it very clear. It can't say for all to see. The state must bear in mind that we are not at Eden on the identification of the marks by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena.
So you can't use for all to see.
Yes.
Because some of them you didn't see. Yes. Those marks, you didn't see them.
They were not there, my lord. You can't see
It's not
something
semantics.
which is not
Yes.
there.
No, it's semantics.
Yes.
For all to see.
Yes.
Doesn't mean for all to see if they can be able to see that. That's how I understand it.
No, my lord. We need to be very. We need
No,
to
no,
be
because
very.
this witness-
we need to be very
this
cautious
witness-
with our wording.
This
The
witness,
state.
wait,
Sorry,
please,
madam.
wait.
Yes.
This witness says, if you don't want to see them, you won't see them. You remember him saying that? This witness.
I don't
You don't
remember
remember
him
that?
saying,
Okay,
my lord,
fine.
if you don't want to see them,
You can't
won't
see
see
them. You won't
them.
see them. He said that.
That if somebody
Sir,
does not want to
am I
see them,
quoting
you
you?
won't see them.
Am I continuing correctly?
That's correct.
I listen. If you don't want to see them, they are there. If you don't want to see them, you won't see them. I'm quoting you. Okay, fine, you heard me.
But my objection, my lord, is to the effect that the
Let's
Now, Advocate Nisi put it to you that you have got it all wrong regarding the correct application of the consecutive matching striae. I think Advocate Mshololo also made the same proposition to you. Advocate Nisi mentioned that you've got it all wrong regarding the correct application of the CMS as imparted by Bruce Moran and John Maddock. And he mentioned further that they'll demonstrate this as the trial unfolds. Now, coming back to the principles of identification as referred to by Mr. Ramsipili. In short, is it correct that the theory of identification as stipulated by the AFTE postulates two methods of identification?
That is correct, my lord.
And this is what Advocate Mshololo took you through in her cross-examination. And during cross-examination by Advocate Mshololo, you mentioned that there are two methods of identification, namely the pattern matching and the consecutive matching striae or CMS.
That is correct, my lord.
Are these two different theories, or do they all subscribe to the theory of identification?
They both subscribe to the theory of identification, and you can use both of them.
Now, is it correct that with pattern matching, you consider all marks in totality?
That is correct. You look at all marking and then you look at the pattern that they form.
If, say, just to give an example, if there are two marks in relative position on if there are 6 grooves on a bullet, and on the first groove there are 2 marks in the relative position on the exhibit bullet and the test bullet, and in the second groove there are perhaps 3 marks in a relative position in a exhibit bullet and test bullet. And on the third groove, there's one matching mark in the relative position. And perhaps on the fourth groove, there are two matching marks. And on the fifth and sixth groove, there are three matching marks each. Is it correct that your evidence is that you look at the cumulative aspects of these marks?
That is correct, my lord.
Now, the exhibits that your charts that you've demonstrated before this court do they qualify in terms of the pattern matching?
My lord, they qualify in both striation markings and pattern markings.
Advocate Nisi asks you, and Advocate Mshololo also asks you the same question as to what will you do if you encounter dissimilarities and on the first and second errors of your chart, and you answer that you continue to count.
Yes, my lord, we continue to count as long as they are in the same groove.
Now, coming back to the theory of identification as referred to by Mr. Ramsepeli, the first one, as he read it out in the report, reads as follows. The theory of identification as it pertains to the comparison of two marks enables opinions of common origin to be made when the unique surface contours of two marks are in sufficient agreement. And here the emphasis falls on sufficient agreement.
Let me spare you the details of having to listen to this over and over again, where Baloyi just asks a question or reiterates something that the defense would have said, and all Mangena says is, yes, that is correct. So what they're doing is just repeating something back onto the record in Mangena's voice so that it becomes affirmative to the court, and the court hears the expert re-explain a process and procedure. So whatever the defense would have refuted, that, it's pretty much null and void. I will go on record and say I am disappointed in Baloyi at this stage, especially since the state is the dominus litis, okay? I would have expected a much more in-depth witness redirect, especially on the key points, the burning topics, the things that are the deal breakers. For example, some people might have been on the fence, and then this was the deal breaker where, no, the state does not have enough evidence. There was tampering, there was cooking, and, there's still people to this day. And I respect them, okay? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That is part of our constitutional rights. There's some people to this day who highly believe the state has a very, very strong case, even after the display of Mangena and basically his work ethic, or should I say lack of work ethic, that is. But you know what? Let me end it here. We look forward to later on today, okay, where we surely find out who that next witness is. Will there be an adjournment? I predict an adjournment. I definitely do. But that is it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. If you are watching from outside the club, please remember 65% of you are watching, but you're not subscribing, and you lose absolutely nothing if you subscribe. So do me that solid, hit that subscription button so we can reach our goals, okay? 100K. We are gunning for the 100K because I definitely want the YouTube button, okay? So thank you for your support. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I absolutely love it. And I'll catch you on my next upload.